Mr. Secretary General, distinguished heads of state and government, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's a profound honor to address you today at the United Nations General Assembly, the cornerstone of global cooperation in an increasingly turbulent world. As President of the United States, I stand before you to reaffirm our unwavering commitment to the UN Charter's principles, peace, justice, human rights, and international collaboration, while outlining a foreign policy that advances our national interest and promotes global stability. This year, this year has tested our collective resolve. The ongoing war in Ukraine has strained global energy markets and displaced millions. Escalating tensions in the Middle East, particularly in Gaza and Lebanon, have fueled humanitarian crisis. U.S. China trade frictions, marked by new tariffs in July 2025, have disrupted supply chains. Catastrophic climate events, from Europe's record heat waves to South Asia's devastating floods, have claimed countless lives, and the rapid rise of artificial intelligence, highlighted at the AI for Good Global Summit in Geneva, has sparked both opportunity and ethical challenges. Against these headwinds, my administration's foreign policy rests on six pillars: national security, diplomacy, and alliances, global trade, human rights, and develop, global development. Global challenges and regional stability. These pillars, rooted in pragmatism and partnership, guide our response to 2025's crisis and chart a path, a path toward a more secure, just, and prosperous world. National security. Our first priority is to protect the world from threats while avoiding escalation that could destabilize the global order. The cyber attacks this spring, which disrupted critical infrastructure across multiple nations, and North Korea's provocative and proactive missile test, underscore the evolving nature of threats. We are maintaining a modern defense, investing heavily in cutting edge cybersecurity to safeguard our digital infrastructure, and updating our military capabilities to deter aggression, evidenced by our increased defense budget allocations for 2025, including hypersonic technology and quantum computing defenses. Yet, security is not solely about strength, it's about collaboration. We are strengthening intelligence sharing with allies through frameworks like the Five Eyes in NATO to counter terrorism and transnational crime. Building on success like the disruption of a major terrorist financing network in Shah this year, our commitment is to America in a world with a stable world, working with partners to prevent conflicts rather than igniting them. Strong cooperative international relationships are the bedrock of our foreign policy. In a year marked by the G20's fractious debates under South Africa's presidency and the WSIS plus 20's reviews focus on digital divides, we see multilateral alliances as vital to global progress. The United States will strengthen its engagement with the UN and regional bodies like the African Union and ASEAN, increasing our contributions to peacekeeping operations and mediation, as seen in our support for UN-led talks in Yemen this summer. We prioritize conflict resolution through diplomacy building. In 2025's fragile ceasefires in Sudan and pushing for de-escalation in Ukraine through renewed multilateral negotiations to foster global understanding. We are expanding cultural exchange programs such as the Fulbright program, which welcomed record numbers of scholars from the global south this year, and launching new initiatives to connect young leaders across borders for re-engagement with NATO. That highlighted the upcoming 2025 summit that we had in Washington this last summer. And our partnerships in the Indo-Pacific, like the Quad, demonstrate our commitment to alliances that counter and promote shared prosperity. Global trade, economic prosperity, it drives stability and fair trade. It is the engine that does it all. The U.S.-China tariff escalations of July 2025 have underscored the need for resilient, equitable trade systems. We're negotiating trade agreements that protect American industry, our manufacturing and tech sectors, while opening the markets for our exporters, as evidenced by our ongoing talks with the EU for a revised trade framework to ensure supply chain resilience and disruptions from global political and geopolitical tensions and climate impacts. We are diversifying, deepening ties with nations in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia through initiatives like the Partnership for Global Infrastructure Investment. We're also embedding ethical, labor, and environmental standards in trade deals, advocating for causes that align with the UN's sustainability development goals and penalize exploitative practices, building on the momentum from the WTO's recent ministerial meeting. Our goal is simple. Our goal is a global economy where trade uplifts communities, not corporations alone. Human rights and development, that's a big part of this. Promoting human dignity is a moral and strategic imperative, especially in a year when Sudan's displacement crisis surpassed 1 million and authoritarians intensified. AI-driven surveillance to quash dissent. We will advocate for democracy and human rights in international forums, supporting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights through targeted sanctions violators, like those imposed on officials suppressing protests in Myanmar this year, and backing international criminal court probes into anarchies in Ukraine and Gaza. Our foreign aid budget for 2025 prioritizes education and infrastructure in developing nations, with $10 billion allocated to build schools and hospitals in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. Addressing the learning losses from climate disrupted years, we are leading humanitarian efforts for refugees and disaster relief, increasing our resettlement quota to over 125,000 annually, and partnering with UNHCR to support those fleeing Middle Eastern conflicts and climate-induced areas, and especially in the Caribbean, by combating discrimination, racism, xenophobia, and anti-LGBTQ persecution. Through UN Human Rights Council initiatives and funding anti-trafficking operations, we aim to foster societies that are just stable, innovative, and they're global. Our global challenges are many. Collaborative action on climate change, health, and innovations is non-negotiable. The 2025 climate disasters that we witnessed, the Pacific typhoons, European droughts, and Caribbean hurricanes demand urgent commitment to the Paris Agreement. We are pushing for net zero emissions by 2050, an enhanced target at COP30 in Brazil, and that's investing 50 billion in green technologies like solar grids, carbon capture, and sharing those with vulnerable nations through adoption and adaptation aid. Global health security remains critical after the Mpox resurgence. We are strengthening the World Health Organization with a $1 billion pledge for 2025 and supporting distribution via COVAX to address food security. And we're going to help with Ukraine as far as their grain exports. We are funding agricultural resilience through the UN's World Food Program and promoting clean energy innovation, building on the AI Summit's focus on sustainability tech. These efforts ensure that the global challenges unite us in shared solutions, regional stability. Promoting peace in key regions is essential security. The ongoing crisis in Ukraine and the Middle East, coupled with tensions in the South China Sea, those highlight the need for diplomatic mediation. We support UN peacekeeping missions with increased funding and training, as seen in our contributions to stabilizing and mediating conflicts through back channels, like efforts to broker pauses in Gaza, hostilities in the Indo-Pacific. We are countering actions there as well through the freedom of navigation operations and economic partnerships, reinforcing stability amid 2025's heightened U.S.-China rivalry. Our support for Ukraine, we are 100% behind Ukraine. We are pledging $15 billion in aid this year, my administration would, and it aims to prevent further European destabilization, while our engagement in the Middle East focuses on humanitarian corridors and long-term peace process. Excellencies, 2025 has shown that division invites disaster, but history, from defeating fascism to forging the Sustainability Development Goals, proves that unity yields progress. Let U.S. reject isolationism, shared future. The United States stands ready to work with every nation, friends, partners, series to build a world of enduring peace, prosperity, and justice. This administration has always stood for diplomacy. This administration has always stood for standing in the aisles, as we call it in the United States, reaching across the aisles and working with people who may not agree 100% in your view. You have my commitment. As long as I am in power, the United States will be that nation that it always has been. Thank you. May God bless you, and may God bless the United Nations, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.